All right. Do you ever think you know your device? As most of you know, I have had the A5X for 3.5 years almost. And today I just figured out something really cool to do on it. Anyway, I will see you here in just a minute. All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Ed, and I just wanted to share something that I found out today that is really, really cool about the entire Supernote platform. So whether you have the A6X2, whether you have the A5X, whether you have an older A6 model, or if you're really excited about the upcoming release of the A5X2, there's something you can do with the headers, keywords, to-dos, and calendar that we weren't able to do before, or at least I had tried to do it before. And you're not going to find this in the manual. You're not going to find it anywhere else that I've seen demoed. So who knows? Maybe I'm the first one to show this live or in a recording. And let's go ahead and jump into it. All right, everybody. So here we are with the A5X. And as all of you know, this is my go-to device. It's what I use every day at work, here at home, for doing YouTube videos, pretty much anything. It's my favorite device. I'm super excited about the A5X2 coming out and look forward to reviewing that device. But for 3.5 years, this has been my driver for pretty much everything that I do. It should be noted, though, that everything I am showing you on this device, you can do on the A6X2 as well. I just prefer this form factor. It's easier for me to work in. It's easier for me to read. And it's just what I like. And this does have that feel right to film on it. So I enjoy that very much. But here's what's so cool. So I was at work today, and as you all know, I've got multiple projects going on. A lot of things happening. We use all kinds of project management tools, but for my personal planning and the way that I work, this is kind of the most effective piece for me. And what I found is that there's a hidden gem within the heading, keyword, calendar, and to-do functions that used not to be an option. And so I'll show you kind of what exists really quick, and then we will jump over and I will show you kind of how to create something like this. And then the third piece will be showing you how this looks in the desktop app on Windows. That's the one I have. I'm assuming it would also work on the Mac, and be able to, make this workflow really work for you. So let's start with what I found out today. It used to be, when the Supernote first came out, it's always had kind of a robust headings feature, keyword feature, calendaring. You could always add to the calendar. And then they added to that with the to-do function. But you could never combine those. You could never make those work together in any real way. Now you can. I don't know when it happened. I don't know why Supernote hasn't really jumped on this and said, hey, we do something that I don't think anybody else does. And let me show you how that looks. So as I've shown in the past, and I'll put down in the description my other video on the to-do and the calendar for much more in-depth coverage of how they work independently. But I want to show this. When you put these to-do items in, if you start them from a notebook, you get this backlink, is what I'll call it. But you get this, and that will take you to the notebook where this task originated, or where this to-do originated. So you'll see I have two here. I have a test to-do. If I go on that one, you're going to see it's just if I had a to-do and I wanted to be able to take notes on it, or just very free form. And I could do that right here. Because I started at the to-do screen, if I go back to the to-do screen, which is really kind of cool. So it's almost using this, and I've done a video before on using the calendar as your homepage, but you could, in effect, use this as a kind of a homepage or a landing page, go into your to-dos for the day or the week, and start ticking those off. But what's really cool is a lot of people have been asking for subtasks. How do I create subtasks within the to-do? And this is where it gets interesting. If I go into this other one that says with subtasks, it's going to take me to this template. And maybe I'll do a custom template, or I'll try and find one that allows me to not have this piece here at the top with the date, because I'm not sure that I really want that. I did put the date that I marked this whole task as due, and I put the day that is. So it can be useful, but it makes it kind of hard to put the title on. So I've put this title. What's really awesome about the title is if I go here, you'll see that I've also turned some of the subtasks into a title. And I've turned one of them into a keyword. So if you look at task 1 there, it exists here on the header, and it exists in a keyword. Pretty cool. And that task with subtasks that you saw on the to-do exists here as well. But that's not it. I mean, that's cool enough. And if you go to these different pages, you go to task 1, now I've changed the template on this. I've made it into a page. I can take notes. I can add a new page here in between the other pages. It makes it a really functional way to keep all of a task that may have a lot of moving parts and pieces. I could link out to other notebooks. It's almost in some ways thinking like a second brain at this point. And I know that term gets overused sometimes, but it really is, because I could add in links to all these different files if I wanted to. But the cool part is you also, by going to the links, get these back buttons to jump right back to wherever you were, wherever you started from within this note. And then if you go back with this top button, you're back to the overall task list. So it's a really quick way, even faster, I would say, than quick access, to kind of navigate your projects and your notes. Let's go back into the subtask one, because I have one more thing that is really cool to show you. So I've shown you that this is a heading. It's also a to-do. It's also a key, or one of the pages is a keyword. I could have made this one a keyword as well. And this is where it's really interesting, it's also a calendar event. Say, what? That's crazy. Pull this down. Let's go to our calendar. And now you'll see on the 28th, you can see task with subtask. And that stays in that same view if I go to the weekly. If I go to the daily, it does a Google type thing. It puts it at the very top in this top line above my overall, daily outline, and I can see my tasks there. Really cool. It's a neat way. It's almost like combining in Google when you can add your tasks to your calendar. It's similar to that, but what you do is when you create it, you just make it an all-day event, and when you do that, it shoves it to the top of everything else and makes it so it's really easy to see. And then for additional clarity, I could always write it in, but you don't have to because it shows here. Really functional. Now, the kicker, this syncs with my Google Calendar, so I can't really show you the whole thing because I don't want to go onto Google for my work calendar and show you what this integration looks like. But it's right there. It syncs with Google. If I add notes or descriptions, this description is now in Google. If I have a Zoom meeting, not that you would ever join Zoom from here, but if that is in Google, it comes here and I can see that meeting information if I need to. It's really amazing, and I can edit things and I can add in different descriptors and I can do it with the handwriting keyboard. All of that is able to be done from this screen. And so now the only thing is there's no way to jump directly from to-do without going, or from the calendar without going back to the quick access. But there we are with the to-do. Something that Supernote hasn't even touted, the fact that you can do multiples of these different pieces with one piece of text. Let's now take a minute and I'm going to show you and walk you through, because it's one thing to show you that I created that, but I want to show you kind of how it's not hard to do. It's pretty easy actually, but you have to remember you need to start from a note for this process to work. So that may seem a little counterintuitive. It would be really cool if they allowed you to link a to-do to a notebook. That would be genius, because then you could create them using your keyboard on your desktop app, pull them in, and then tie them or create a new notebook from the to-do. That would really increase the viability or the value of that workflow. But we'll do it the way we need to for now. And we're going to start with a new notebook, and we will go and name this New To Do 2. And you'll see that pops up. Of course, it always adds a space there. I think it thinks those words need to be separated. So New To Do 2, and I hit create. Now what's cool here, and like I said, I kind of wish this wasn't here, but at the same time, I don't really need the checkboxes. I could just do lines and freeform this if I want to. It's really up to you how you organize it. But let's say, I do want to have this one still be due on 9/28/2024, and we'll call this New To Do 2. The cool part is, and this is how easy it is, pull this down into frame a little bit more. I have my lasso tool, I'll circle it, and then first thing we want to do, let's say, well, let's make it a header. So we go ahead, we make the header. Now you'll see it's a header. So we have that right there. Now we circle it again, and we want to make it a keyword. So just for fun, let's make that a keyword. Now you'll see New To Do, and again it put the space, so we'll correct that. And now you have that keyword. So again, if you go here, you have the title or the header, you have the keyword. And of course you can look by keyword or you can look by page. So those are 2. Got those taken care of. Now we circle it again and we say calendar to do. And again, we'll get rid of that space. We'll go ahead and add the date for the 28th. Hit confirm and hit add. And they fixed this, so this now will shove us back to the task list. Now, we've created all of those things in just a few, a minute or two. Circle it one more time. And again, you can go as deep or as light into this as you want to, but it gives you a lot of flexibility. And you say, let's do a calendar event. It's going to recognize it. We're probably still going to have that space. Yep, there it is. And you're going to say all day event. When you do that, then you'll just want to select 28th, confirm, 28th and confirm, and then say OK. Now it brings us back again to this note. So let's just add one new page, just kind of show you how easy that is. So let's say our first task is new page 2, and we want to turn this into a link. So we go ahead and select our lasso. We say we want this to be a link. Another page in the current file. We can insert before, after, doesn't really matter, completely up to you. We'll insert it after, and then we can either click directly on it or just say OK. And now we'll go to that page and we will make this a note page because that seems to make a little bit more sense to me. And we will go ahead and do our 8mm ruled, and this is new page 2, and we will lasso that, move it a little bit, get it a little bit more centered, and create that as a header. And let's go ahead and make it a keyword too. So now we have just created, and let's look at this. There's our keywords because it defaults to the last thing you looked at. You can see what pages they are. You can do them by the words themselves and it'll tell you the pages. You can go to headings. You'll see there are both of those headers. So from a subtask and task perspective and note pages within a task or within a larger project, it's starting to really take shape. And then what you can do is now we've created the structure. So this is what our structure will look like for this particular task and subtask, or this project and some of the related tasks. And again, this is customizable. You can do pretty much anything you want with it. So we will go to the to-do list, and what you'll see is that went into the inbox. So everything kind of defaults to the inbox. But again, you'll see our little notebook icon there. We'll press on this, we'll say move, and then we'll move that to social. Now we're in social. There's our new to-do too. It's ready to go. We hit our little icon. It takes us back. There it is. And if we go into our calendar, you will see there is new to-do too. And that stays the same in that view, but when you go to the daily, there are the 3 tasks. Pretty awesome. I mean, to me, that is, I've used the term game changer plenty, but that really is. It's amazing what this is doing. Now, if you could just write on the daily view, that would be even more awesome. But let's take a look at how this looks on the desktop app. Here we are with the 2 interfaces. So you'll see here on the left that you have the desktop app for Windows. That's what I use. It should look pretty similar regardless of where you're at. One thing you'll notice that's kind of neat, and I don't have time to really go through kind of the larger planners. I've done separate videos on these before, but I added, just while I was waiting on everything to sync, I added to see if it would work with the MDO, which is the My Daily Organizer planner that Voya at My Deep Guide puts out, and the Get It Done planner that JB over at Morning Coach puts out. And it appears that it does. The only area of concern I would have there, and I'm going to test this really quick, and it is taking me to the page, but I'm not sure if it's taking me to the page because it was the last page I was on, or if it is taking me to the page because it's actually linked to that page. It's hard to tell. And I think part of that is just, and let's look over here on this one as well. So it did seem to take me to the page. The only concern with some of these to-dos is I'm not sure if it remembers the actual page it's on or if it remembers the notebook. So it would be worth some more testing to see how that works. And you'll see this is a live screen shared view of my Supernote on the screen here on the right. And let's go ahead and just double check with my Daily Organizer here and see what that looks like. And yeah, it took me here, and you'll see reference check for Bill is right here. And the only thing in the app that's missing that I really wish they had was the calendar view. And I think that that's coming. It's just not here yet. But the whole point is you can do all of these things. And I'll reach out to JB at Morning Coach and to Voya and see. I'll mention them in the description, but I'll also reach out and see if they want to test their planners. They know them far better than I do. But the ability of the Supernote to import PDFs, hyperlinked PDFs, into the template engine and then allow those links to still be live, I could really see this being useful, because you could add these to the to-do list in the Supernote and then add them as a calendar event, and that would sync with your Google Calendar. So that's really, really interesting to be able to think about how you could mix kind of that analog digital paper replacement. It's just very, very high. It's just something that really intrigues me. But they know their planners better than I do, and I don't want to speak for them. Maybe it's a video for another time or a discussion for another time, but it's something that I'm really interested in. So let's go ahead and look through the other ones we had been talking about. And again, we'll click on tasks with subtasks here, and we'll also do that on the Supernote. And you'll see tasks with subtasks. They came right up. We'll go to new page here. And we'll go to new page here. And of course, all of that is there. Now, the advantage to the screen mirroring, obviously, is you can still do new things. And it works really well. Now, you can't do that, at least in the Supernote app yet. You can't do that. You can't do any editing here. You can import PDFs. You can add things that way. You can see your different pages. You can't add pages at this point. But it gives you that flexibility, and then of course you can export if you want to. You can see the table of contents. So if we go to the table of contents, you'll see here that they mirror one another. You can also go to your keywords, and if you see here, you have your keywords. It's amazing really what they've done with this technology, and for a device that does so many things well, it's really cool. I do wish that it had the calendar, but I'm not complaining. I think what they've managed to pull off here is really good. And of course, you know, you could check these off here. You can move them. You can change the date. You can delete. You can do all of that just by right-clicking on any of these tasks. What's really cool is being able to click through just like you can on the Supernote, but you could be more productive, or you could move faster by doing it this way as well. And, you know, that's a little bit different because you don't have those back arrows. So that's nice that I'm doing this because I can see kind of some of the navigation challenges. So for here, when we go to task 1, there's no back arrow. We can go to the task, but if you've hyperlinked it this way, you can do it. So again, the table of contents is way more useful in the desktop app, and I would assume the mobile app, because of the fact that you can navigate to different pages really quickly. What you don't want to do is accidentally hit this back button if you're not ready to do so. And you'll see over here with the tasks and subtasks, I get, and you'll see my little highlighter down here at the bottom, you'll see those back arrows that allow me to go back. And then if I hit this button here at the top, it'll take me back to the full-on task list. So the navigation is a little bit different, but it has so much of the same functionality. And I can't say enough good about it. But remember, you do need to start from the device to plan this out. You can't add a task and then link it to a notebook. You have to link it from the notebook to the to-do list. So that's a very important thing to remember. All right, well, that takes care of the demo. Let's hop back over and wrap this up. Wow. I just mean wow. It amazes me what this little piece of technology keeps throwing at me. And I know, you know, Roderick's going to tell me that I'm a fanboy and that I'm a fan of this technology. And I am, because of the fact that when I bought it 3.5 years ago, it already met my needs. And as I've evolved and as my needs have changed, the device has grown with me. And in some ways, the device has pushed me to do things that I normally wouldn't do. This idea of using the to-do feature in the Supernote wasn't something I ever asked for, wasn't something I ever really wanted. I did want to be able to see my calendar. I did want to be able to download and see email when I needed to. But the way they're starting to integrate this ecosystem and the way they're allowing you to select a piece of text multiple times and tag it in multiple ways, I don't know. And you know, other people have these other devices, but I'd be interested to see what Vladimir Kostek and Jeffrey Moss and Voya and Kit and Roderick have to say about how these other devices work in this organizational context to help you better organize your thoughts and your thought processes and your daily tasks in a real clear way. And Brandon Boswell as well. He has this new platform called Playlist, which is really cool, and I'm beta testing. And I'm curious how all of this stuff could fit together to kind of help us control the chaos that we have in our lives. And that's what intrigues me. That's what gets me fired up. That's what gets me thinking, how can we better control our environment, or at least not control it so much as how can we adapt to it? How can we make ourselves more productive? Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, drop comments down below. Appreciate you as always. My Patreon page launched. I've asked a few questions. I'm thinking about a membership tier that is not free, that would have a few more additional things. We're already up to about 14 free members. Please jump in, say hello. There's a running chat there. I'm happy to chat with you. And, let me know what you think. It's got currently a curated top 10 videos by views with some behind the scenes kind of reflection on what those videos are about. But until next time, I will see you soon and have a great one.